am not in an inappropriate relationship with my dad. We are father and daughter, and we are close. Nothing more.
Got interrogated by the FBI as to some questionable contents on my computer.
I am not being held hostage. No one needs to free me.
It doesn't surprise me that one of you created an AI account to try and frame me.
These accounts contain graphic stories of this.
There's absolutely nothing in any of this that is going to get me put in jail like you want.
Meet Patrick and Sarah Getchell, the TikTok duo better known as the dad and daughter dream team.
Hello everyone, I'm Sarah and this is my dad Patrick.
They started posting on TikTok back in 2023, doing dance trends, cooking videos, and the occasional awkward lip sync. At first their content seemed wholesome, just a dad and a daughter who really love spending time together.
So enjoy the content.
And let's all have fun together.
But scroll for more than 1 minute and something starts to feel off. The long hugs, constant handhold, and the kind of eye contact that lingered on a little too long. And then they started posting clips that honestly I would not even know how to describe. So yes, with videos like this, it wasn't surprising that some people at first assumed that they were a couple. And when they inevitably found out that they were a father and a daughter, the assumptions got a lot darker. Does she read the posts and know what people are assuming? Blink twice if you need help.
No, I don't need help. I'm perfectly fine. This is my father. We're doing dance trends and other trends on TikTok. There's absolutely nothing going on here. I don't need help. I'm fine. So just please stop commenting this stuff. I'm fine. You don't have to worry about me. I'm perfectly safe.
Yeah, something about that response just didn't feel right, especially considering it looks like Patrick is behind the camera holding Sarah at gunpoint. So naturally the internet wanted to hear his side. I'd like to see Patrick address this by himself. It's a common tactic to force the victim to clear their perpetrator's name.
Let me be clear, all right? There is not now, nor has there ever been, nor will there ever be any kind of sexual, romantic, or other inappropriate relationship with my daughter.
And maybe, just maybe, the internet would have believed him if he didn't decide to get on one knee and propose to his daughter with a purity ring.
What are you doing? What?
Sarah, will you wear this ring as a sign and a promise to God and to me to remain pure until the day you're married?
Now, if you don't know what a purity ring is, congrats on your happy childhood. It's basically a little piece of jewelry meant to remind teenagers not to have sex before marriage. Now, the trend itself peaked in early 2000s when every single Disney star wore one, like the Jonas Brothers, Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez. And the idea was simple. Your virginity is the most valuable thing that you own, and if you lose it before marriage, you're basically a chewed piece of gum. Now, the trend itself has mostly died out, but there's still a few freaky evangelical dads out there proposing to their teenage daughters like it's 2007, like Patrick here. Except in this case, Sarah isn't a teenager. She's 22, an adult. So Patrick is effectively proposing to his adult daughter. But first, let's rewind just a little bit to see how this whole thing started.
I am about to give Sarah a purity ring, but I'm going to do it in a very special way. I'm actually going to make it look like a marriage proposal. Now, don't get the wrong idea, it's not a marriage proposal.
Right.
If it's not a marriage proposal, why make it look like one? You know that saying, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck? Yeah, this duck's about to get groomed.
I'm very grateful that she has remained pure to this point and is continuing to remain pure.
Like, imagine bragging to the entire internet that your adult daughter is a virgin. Who are you trying to impress? Human traffickers?
Sarah, I need you to get up, honey.
Okay.
Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I love Sarah's face in this. She looks mortified. Also, look at this gorgeous setting. Sarah's in bed half asleep reading, mattress covers halfway off, garbage on the floor. Come on, Patrick, you couldn't have waited for a better moment. You see, normally, purity rings are given at purity balls, which are like these formal events where daughters pledge chastity to their fathers. It's still weird, but at least it's a little bit more elegant than this.
First of all, you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
And most kids your age are not pure. They're not really pure.
Kids your age? You mean adults?
Kids your age are not pure.
You know, adults who are doing what every other mammal on planet Earth does? How do you think that 8 billion people walking around got here? It sure wasn't storks.
Sarah, will you wear this ring as a sign and a promise to God and to me to remain pure until the day you're married?
Yes.
I'm assuming this is Patrick's way of giving Sarah the dreaded sex talk, but instead of teaching her about, you know, contraception, consent, STDs, anatomy, he just hands her a ring and says, close your legs and shut the And that's the biggest problem I have with purity culture. It replaces education with blind obedience, and it doesn't even work. Research shows teens who take virginity pledges have higher rates of STDs and unplanned pregnancies, and are just as likely to have sex before marriage as anyone else. No, seriously, like, do these people think a purity ring will act like the one ring from Lord of the Rings? You put it on, and the second you're about to have sex, you just disappear like Frodo. And instead of the Nazgul showing up, it's your dad knocking down the door like, "You shall not smash!"
This ring will remain on your left ring finger until the day your husband puts another ring there in its place.
Okay.
As a sign that you will remain pure.
Nice.
I love you.
I love you too.
My sweet girl.
I like it.
Before we keep going, quick thank you to today's sponsor, CyberGhost VPN. Let's be real, if you're using the internet, you're probably being watched. Even if you use incognito, your school, your work, and even your internet provider can see that weird anime you've been watching. And yes, they are judging. But you know who won't judge? CyberGhost. With over 38 million users worldwide and over 20,000 excellent reviews on Trustpilot, it's one of the best VPNs out there. It's very simple. You just pick from over 100 server locations, turn it on, and it encrypts your traffic and hides your real IP. So now your data isn't just floating around for everyone to dig through. It's my data, my trash. Get your little clammy raccoon hands out of it, Mark Zuckerberg. Anyway, it can also unlock geo-restricted games and content from over 40 streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, just by switching countries. Also, CyberGhost works on everything, Windows, Mac, Android, and it lets you protect up to 7 devices at the same time, which is perfect if you share subscriptions or, you know, have zero self-control with tech like I do. Right now, if you use my link in the description, you can get their best deal, just $2.03 per month plus 4 months free. That's literally 84% off. There's also a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there's basically no risk. By signing up using the link in the description, you can also help me create more videos like this one, videos that will probably get demonetized. So don't forget to click the link in the description to get that special discount. CyberGhost VPN with 84% off plus 4 months free with a 45-day money-back guarantee. So, the original purity video went pretty viral and the copies were being reposted everywhere. And although Patrick deleted the post pretty quickly, the damage was already done and the internet was not about to let it go. A father shouldn't be obsessed with his daughter's purity like this. Very disturbing. I am absolutely horrified, thank you. He secretly wants to marry his daughter and this is the closest he can get to it. This is so inappropriate and weird. She's 20 and lives at home and sleeps in the same room as him? Nope, nope, nope. Time to grow up and move out. So with their reputation going down the drain, Patrick went into full damage control. First, he started uploading wholesome family clips of his wife, Teresa, and their youngest son, Hunter. Because look how sweet and cute and wholesome our family is. There's definitely nothing weird going on here. And when that obviously didn't work, Patrick put Teresa in front of the camera to defend him in this very not scripted, not written by Patrick video.
I've watched the internet attack my daughter and my husband, and it's really pissing me off. I am done staying quiet. What the hell is wrong with you people? My husband is the sweetest and kindest man. He would never hurt a fly, let alone his family. Sarah is an incredible daughter, and Patrick is a wonderful husband and a great father. So all you trolls can shut the up and leave us alone. Sorry guys for all the cussing. I'm just tired of these trolls attacking my family. I'm also sorry for going off like that. I just can't take it anymore. I hope you all understand, never piss off a mother. I really do hope you all have an amazing day.
Teresa is so cute, by the way. Her little cusses, her sweet energy. I genuinely do not think she knows what's going on between Patrick and Sarah or online. They did say that she has a slight learning disability. I just think she's just smiling and doing her best to clear the Getchell name, you know, reading the script. But yeah, despite her best efforts and Patrick's, it obviously didn't work. If anything, it made things worse. And that's when a Reddit page called Dad and Daughter Snark popped up. And as much as I dislike snark pages, this one isn't necessarily meant for bullying like others. It's more of a crowdsourced investigation board where piece by piece, users started assembling what they believed was really happening behind the scenes. And the first thing they noticed was that even in that video, Teresa wasn't even wearing a wedding ring. And when asked about it, Patrick and Sarah's explanations didn't really hold up.
Does Teresa have a ring?
Teresa and I have not had wedding rings for probably about 10 years now. We hit a financial snag back then, and after that, we didn't even think about it.
It's because they feel like they don't need a piece of metal around their hand to symbolize their marriage.
Okay, but if you don't need a piece of metal to symbolize your commitment to your wife, then why does your daughter need one to prove her virginity? Make it make sense. And then, you know, viewers started to point out that Patrick looked visibly awkward when showing affection towards Teresa. Yet when it came to Sarah, he seemed all too comfortable crossing boundaries. Like, okay, in one clip, he's seen sniffing her hair. What are you doing, bro? What? In another, he straight up smacks her butt, and then when he notices the cameras behind him, he's like, oh. And then there's other clips where his eyes would wander into places that he shouldn't for far too long. And you know, Sarah, she always looked a little tense, a little uncomfortable, and a little bit defensive, but never enough to truly like reject his advances, as if to her this was normal. And in one particularly uncomfortable clip, Sarah's leaning over a bucket of water, visibly tense by the way, and Patrick's hand rests firmly on the back of her neck, occasionally stroking her hair. Ah, man. So yeah, for a lot of regular viewers of the dad and daughter dream team, this was the turning point. It was the moment it stopped being awkward family content that could be justified and just like a dad and daughter who were just a little too close, and it started looking a lot like emotional or covert incest. We all know what overt incest is. You know, the normal type of incest. No. I don't need to explain that one. Okay, good. So covert incest is basically the emotional version of that. It's when a parent treats their kid less like a kid and more like a partner. They lean on them for comfort, validation, and emotional support. Things that should come from another adult. You know, it's not physical intimacy, at least not at first. It's like boundaries dissolving until the relationship stops looking normal. A clinical description literally reads like the Getchels. You and your dad do everything together. He often calls you his other half.
Okay, truth is, you guys, the way you two act together would be how a couple would act.
I can see it. I've seen the videos. I can see where people see it, but it's not easy for us to not be like that because that's how we've been our whole life. I think it stems a lot from the fact that we are so close to being almost identical. We're almost like twins.
We finish each other's sentences sometimes.
It's natural for us.
So your response to being accused of acting like a couple is, we finish each other's sentences. Yeah, that's the problem, Sarah. That's not normal.
What boundaries do you guys have in your relationship?
Now, I said before in an earlier video that there should be no boundaries in a family. People took that the wrong way. I'm not saying that there's not healthy boundaries, okay? Obviously, there's certain things that there's boundaries, but there's really not any like major boundaries in our relationship because we trust each other and we're completely comfortable with each other.
So there should be boundaries, but we have no boundaries because families shouldn't have boundaries. Okay. Makes perfect sense. I don't know who needs to hear this, okay? Because there's gonna be some of you, okay? You need boundaries with your parents, especially when you become an adult, okay? You're supposed to say no to them a lot. You're supposed to have your own opinions, space, identity. You're supposed to disagree with them and especially have agency over your own body and your decisions. And even in families that are more affectionate, there should still be clear lines. And although I tried so hard to like articulate how a boundary should look like between a dad and a daughter, I found this perfect Reddit post that explains it way better than I could. I'm a 45-year-old woman, for context, an only child. My mom was never physically affectionate. My dad, though, hugger, hand holder, lap provider, everything. We never outgrew it, by which I mean dad never stopped touching me. And I never felt weird about it. Even writing that, dad never stopped touching me. Sounds awful, but I swear it was so wholesome. Into my 20s and 30s, my dad was still showing fatherly physical affection to me, and I loved it. Here's how he did it without ever making it weird. He'd put his hand on my back when we walked someplace, but not on my lower back like a date or a dance partner, just lightly between my shoulders. We'd be standing in line for coffee and he'd put his arm around my shoulder and squeeze me in a gentle side hug, thus avoiding embracing me breast to chest. We'd be at a table and he'd put his hand over mine, not really hold my hand across the table, but kind of cover them. Such fatherly protective gesture. This is what normal affection between a dad and a daughter should look like past the age of like 8 or 9 or when she starts developing puberty. I even act like this towards my stepdad and he towards me because we understand that there's boundaries, right? Especially like the way that you would hug a dad. It becomes awkward when you grow boobs. Patrick is genuinely convinced Sarah that families shouldn't have boundaries, which is why their relationship looks like covert incest with a sprinkle of overt incest because let's be honest, the line between two is razor thin and they're balancing right on the edge. But of course, convincing your daughter that this is completely normal doesn't just start at 18. It's a slow burn, okay? Years of conditioning. And it first started with Sarah's education, when Patrick decided to pull her out of public school to homeschool her for religious reasons.
With the religious background, do you feel like just as a parent, did that impact your decision to homeschool at all? Or do you feel like that was truly based in more of the social and just educational difficulties that were maybe occurring at the school?
It was definitely part of it, but not all of it. I personally, I don't like the school system's approach to education, especially with all the standardized tests. I feel that teaching to test is not a good thing to teach kids, because in life, you're not going to get tests unless you're doing a specific professional job.
You don't agree with tests? The thing that literally proves you learned something? Listen, I get it. I hate exams. I hate tests. They're not, my favorite at all. But they're not exactly a government psyop either. And they definitely work.
Most of the time, you need practical knowledge. And I don't think they teach as much of that as they should in the school system.
Yeah, practical knowledge. Taught by Patrick, former operations manager at a vape shop. There's nothing wrong with being a manager at a vape shop. But can we just be honest here? Knowing the difference between Blueberry Blast and Cotton Candy Cloud doesn't really qualify you to teach algebra.
And everything happening in schools nowadays, I didn't feel safe with my kids in public school.
Okay, yes, American schools can sometimes look like Call of Duty lobbies, but would you rather that or be stuck learning about vape flavors and Jesus from Patrick every day? Yeah. And listen, Patrick's influence doesn't really stop with just Sarah's education. It extends to who she could talk to, who she could trust, and even who she could call a friend. Sarah even admits she doesn't really have friends her age.
Something you should already know about me is I love spending time with my family. I would rather go to the park with my family than go to clubs with friends. That's who I am. I know it may sound weird, but that's how much I love my family. Besides, I don't drink and I hate large crowds, so clubbing is out for me.
I mean, that might sound wholesome on paper, like, I love my family, yay! But when you pair it with a decade of homeschooling and no social life outside the family, and, they all live together in a one-bedroom motel, it reads like conditioning, right? It feels deliberate. First, make her afraid of school, then make her afraid of adulthood and people her age. I mean, Patrick built an entire worldview where the outside is dangerous and the family unit is the only safe place left. It's like he raised her on an early 2000s coming-of-age sex movies and treated them as like horror films instead of comedies. Okay, if your only reference of adulthood are American Pie, Superbad, or Eurotrip, then yeah, adulthood looks pretty terrifying. Or in my opinion, awesome, but I bet they even watched American Pie together as a family and treated it like a cautionary tale. See, Sarah, this is what happens when you leave the motel. Your pies are not safe.
I would rather go to the park with my family than go to clubs with friends.
You know what? This part actually makes me personally so angry because you only get your 20s once and they go by really fast. I know I'm about to turn 20 for the 10th time. This is the decade where you're supposed to make so many mistakes, embarrass yourself, figure out who you are without your parents. So when you do eventually hit your 30s, even mid-20s, you know what you like and don't like, what career you want to pursue, and what kind of partner you might want. Sarah doesn't seem to be getting that chance. She's been taught to fear the world before she's even stepped into it. Well, she did try to go out into the world once, but it didn't last long. When Sarah turned 18, she decided to make her own choices for the first time. She later described this as a dark period in her life.
I had a lot of darkness in my life.
Which sounds super ominous, right? In my mind, I was thinking, oh my God, was she addicted to heroin? Did she get entangled with, organized crime? Was she selling drugs? No, she started posting on TikTok by herself.
So when I first dove into social media, I really wanted everyone to like. So I would post a bunch of videos here on TikTok on things that were trending. I also got into editing and cosplay transitions. Some of the edits they talked about sounded fun. So I dove into my favorite TV shows and movies for edit. I ended up getting so involved that I became obsessed with them. I did a few cosplay transitions in the shows and wore outfits I would never wear. I also heavily used makeup, which I hate. I got to a point where I couldn't even recognize myself anymore.
So the dark period was wearing eyeliner and doing cosplay transitions. Man, I wish those were my dark times. Wow.
It wasn't until my dad stumbled on one of my accounts that I realized how bad it had got.
Okay, yes, I know how embarrassing it is for your parents to find your online accounts, okay? It's happened to me plenty of times, and I remember it didn't matter what I posted, my parents always seemed to have a problem with it. So the feeling isn't like unique to you, Sarah, okay? This is everybody's experience trying to get out of your parents' overprotective umbrella. But again, that's like part of growing up. Growing pains, you have to set boundaries with your overprotective parents. Like, you brought me into this world, but now that I'm 18, it's mine. And I get to make my own decisions and mistakes because they're my decisions. But Patrick somehow turned her doing TikTok transitions into a moral crisis.
My dad sat me down and explained to me that it's okay for you to want people to like you, but by changing who you are, they aren't really liking you, they're liking the person they want you to be.
Translation, my daughter is changing and I didn't approve of the new version.
He told me to find those friends, accept me for who I am, and those are my true friends.
Now this brings me to something super sad, but also super wild, because Sarah doesn't really have any true friends, because, I mean, Patrick doesn't let her. And it will make sense why in just a minute. But the one friend that Patrick did let Sarah have was Jenna Frank, the daughter of Jason David Frank, the original Green Power Ranger. Yeah, you see where this is going. Yeah, so Patrick's a massive Power Rangers fan, especially the Green Power Ranger. And after Jason's death, Jenna started attending conventions in his honor. And the Getchels, well, they showed up to almost every single one. Soon, Sarah started calling Jenna her best friend. Except, of course, it wasn't mutual, it was parasocial. They were paying to meet her. And when they weren't in conventions meeting Jenna, they were flooding her Instagram. Looks amazing, Jay. I love you, bestie. Can't wait to see you again. Happy New Year's, bestie. Beautiful, miss you, bestie. My bestie is gorgeous. Now, at one point, Sarah even wrote Jenna a song.
You and me, birthdays, twins from the start. Same day, same sport. 2 years apart, but the love we share is bigger than time. You're always with me in heart and mind.
So when people pointed out that their friendship wasn't real, Sarah and Patrick doubled down.
People don't understand how I can be friends with a celebrity. That's all it is, really. They think it's just a parasocial relationship.
Do you think she was probably just kind of putting that on, being like really crazy and over the top because you want fans, you want people to come in, you know?
She didn't react that way to anybody else. Yes, she'd give her fans hugs. Yes, she'd greet them. But it was over the top when she saw us. It was completely different. That's the reason why we believe that she really did care about us.
With the other fans, it was always like a one-arm hug, you know, a smile and a laugh here and there. But with us, she fully embraced us in a hug. I'm sorry, but you can't fake that kind of emotion.
Yeah, it's giving the stripper likes me. No, she just likes your wallet. Now, when you really think about it, it makes perfect sense why Patrick encouraged this friendship and not all the other ones on TikTok or all the other people she met or the people from school, because this is a safe friendship. You know, a celebrity will never text you back. They will never pull you aside and say, hey, this is weird. And they definitely won't tell you that your dad is controlling you. You know, Jenna was just there to smile, take a photo, and keep her dad's legacy alive.
You can't fake that kind of emotion.
So with her friends, emotions, education, living, controlled by Patrick, there's only one major thing left to control that almost guaranteed that Sarah is stuck. And that is money. And he does this by keeping the money that he makes from monetizing from his relationship with Sarah, and then from keeping her from pursuing her dreams, which is apparently being a SeaWorld trainer. Just a 22-year-old woman working towards her dream of training orcas at SeaWorld. And here's a clip of them talking about it in detail, because I didn't know much about SeaWorld training before this, but apparently they do.
The orcas at SeaWorld, people call them tricks, but they are not tricks. Tricks is something you do for like an audience. What they do at SeaWorld, they're called behaviors. So everything that these whales do in the shows are used for enrichment and for medical purposes. Like, they come out on the platform and get their head and their tail out of the water. And most people are like, oh, that's really cool. Like, they must be strong to be able to do that. But that's not what it's for. The reason they do that, is because the whales need to be weighed regularly. And that's how they get them out. They get them up onto the scale. And then because their tail's still in the water, they're measuring the pressure of the water too. So they have to get their tail and their head out of the water. And that's why they do that.
And like getting them to open their mouth is so that they can check their teeth. They can check their mouth. mouth, they can make sure they're healthy.
Yeah.
All these things are either behaviors that they're actually naturally doing in the wild anyway. They're just training them to do them on command to educate people. Because all the shows are educational now. There's no more like fun, happy, like, you know.
It's fun and happy, but that's not what it's for.
And it really does provide enrichment for them. They are social animals. They love to interact with each other. They're very social. So having them doing these behaviors is actually enriching them, giving them more things to do, so they're not just basically swimming around a tank all day.
They could just not be swimming around a tank all day and be out socializing and enriching out in the sea. But hey, no, who am I to curb your dreams? I don't think anybody should dream of being a SeaWorld trainer. I don't think they should exist, because have you seen how they treat the orcas? You know, but I guess you do you.
She would have been broken by the number of comments about how bad SeaWorld is, which it's not, but that's another subject entirely. But she would have been broken and hurt. She's come a long way, and I want to recognize her for that.
But I guess, you know, this dream does feel kind of childish for someone who is 22 years old. It's like me saying I want to become an astronaut when I grow up, or a YouTuber. But here's another thing. This dream of being a SeaWorld trainer never really moves. It's always one day when I make enough money for that one course. You know, it's an unattainable dream.
Do you still plan to do anything with SeaWorld?
100% still my goal. Doing this job I'm doing now, because the courses that I want to get are quite expensive. They're in the pricey range. So I have this job now so that I can save as much as I can over the next few months. That way I can get courses I need.
You know how I said that this was probably kind of childish? Because it kind of probably is. Psychologists actually call this condition arrested development. No, not the show. It's when an adult's growth is kind of stalled by dependency. And in Sarah's case, her dreams stay childlike because her environment does. She's encouraged to want big, big things, but never really plan for them. And from how things up to now have been, I do think Patrick probably also suffered from arrested development, because it tends to be a cycle. It doesn't really excuse the behavior, but it does just kind of give a possible reason why Sarah dreams big. With that, I want to mention some ways Patrick actually keeps Sarah distracted from her dreams, or, you know, a real job. And it's with what he calls projects. It started with their TikTok, then expanded into live streams, other side hustles, and whatever else he could come up with to keep her occupied. And the biggest project was their self-published fantasy novel, Firebound Harmony.
You love dragon fantasy books?
Well, do we have a treat for you. Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Sarah. We just wrote an incredible tale for you.
Jalen, Princess of Eldoria, is not your normal princess. She is the commander of her own battalion, and she is only 17 years old.
But her greatest adventure comes when she finds an injured dragon named Aurelia.
Yeah, and the reviews to this were not great. It is really terrible, sorry to say, but the authors should go back to elementary school. The writing is truly awful and abysmal, almost embarrassing the amount of errors and sloppy writing. Would not recommend. I mean, okay, what do you expect from the homeschool kid of a vape shop manager? And before homeschool kids come for me, this isn't about you. This is about making sure that the person teaching you can actually spell adventure. Because even their official book banner spelt it adventure. The only adventure happening here is back to high school English and maybe art class, because Patrick claims that the front image of this book cover isn't AI.
Sorry, I must have missed that one.
If so, explain why this 17-year-old princess looks like she's had more work done than 69-year-old Kris Jenner.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to make a consistent AI image. I had a hard enough time creating the one dragon I made for our second book cover, because I can't draw that well. So the rest of the book cover I made, but I had to get a dragon, and I had a hard enough time doing that.
And even if I gave him that right, this is an AI. Why does everything Patrick touch scream AI? Like the merch they try to release. Love is the only path to happiness. Money can buy many things, but love is the only limitless currency. Wow, cringe. Or the song he made for Sarah.
Where I go, no matter what I do, you'll always be a part of me and me a part of you. I want to give you everything in this entire world, just because I love you, my sweet baby girl. you.
Not dating, by the way. They're never escaping that. I almost wish he used more AI here, like not just for the music or the lyrics, for the voice too. Yeah. Anyway, it's AI that eventually brings everything crashing down for the dad and daughter dream team, starting with yet another AI-generated song. Now, in late 2024, Sarah posted what seemed like a normal TikTok of her dancing, lip syncing, except this time she used an audio of a song nobody had ever heard of, You Calm the Storm.
Shadows take control, and silence is all I hear. Your voice so sweet.
And Sarah just happened to be the only person on TikTok who would ever use that audio. And when people tapped on the sound, they didn't find a small indie artist. No, they found an AI musician named Miss Ariella, aka Ariella Brigman, who also happened to be posting AI-generated explicit adult content on other platforms. Twitter, Reddit, and an OnlyFans copycat FanView. Yeah. Christmas is coming. Well, it is actually. It's hot by the fire. I think I want to take my clothes off. What clothes? They're not real. What clothes? You don't have any clothes. Those are pixels. I want to take off my pixels. And Ariella's bio didn't help either. Gamer, singer, model, Monster Hunter enthusiast. Huh. You know who loves Monster Hunter? Patrick. And it gets worse. The account wasn't just posting spicy AI content, it was also following Sarah and Patrick on Instagram, and Patrick was liking all of her photos. Her. I don't know if I can call her. It, a thing. And then Reddit users found a Venmo page for this Ariella Brigman. And she just happened to be using the Firebound Harmony book as her cover. And she just happened to list her postcode as Dallas, Texas, which is right where Patrick and Sarah live. Now, by this point, anyone with even half of a brain cell figure out that Ariella Brigman was created by Sarah or Patrick or both, which would be very weird. But somehow that didn't stop them from denying it. Sarah ended up posting a pretty long response video.
There's a rumor going around that my dad and I created an AI that made spicy content on OnlyFans. Their whole basis for this accusation is that this AI posted a song. I saw it on TikTok and I liked it, so I made a lip sync. I also followed the account in case they posted more music out. Excuse me for liking an AI song, but that does not prove that we were behind the account. As for the spicy content they allegedly posted, we would never post content like that. Hell, we don't even know how to use AI like that. The most we've done with AI is get a few name ideas for characters in our book.
This wasn't the end, because a few days later, someone unearthed a Literotica account under the same name, Miss Ariella, with the same profile picture. Wow! And if you're lucky enough not to know what Literotica is, I am so sorry, I'm about to ruin that for you. It's a site where anyone can anonymously post erotic stories. And I'm saying erotic loosely here because they are the most vile, disgusting stories on there. Like, people on there are sick. And honestly, if I read even the story that Miss Ariella here wrote, I will be demonetized. And honestly, I'm surprised I'm not demonetized already with everything that I'm covering today. So consider becoming a YouTube member if you want me to cover more insane things like this. Thank you to my current YouTube members. I love you. Anyway, so the story that Ariella wrote is about a dad and a daughter. And it is by far the most disgusting piece of writing I have ever read in my life. Like, only genuinely a sick, twisted, perverted person who should be in prison would write something like this. Please do not seek out any of these stories, just take my word for it. And unfortunately, the evidence pointed straight back to Patrick and Sarah. Moderators on the subreddit even verified screenshots and timestamps. And it showed that Miss Ariella and her story was created months before Sarah even used that audio. And 24 hours after this discovery of the Literotica account, the entire account vanished, along with every trace of Ariella Brigman across TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, FanView. All of it wiped completely clean. And just when people thought it was over, we got round two, because another name surfaced, and this one was Suspicious Quail, a tiny YouTube gaming channel with commentary that sounded exactly like Patrick.
Hello everybody, this is Suspicious Quail.
Hello everybody, and welcome to my brand new channel.
And I think I'm gonna leave it off at there for now, and I will see you guys later.
I think this is a good place to end part 1. I will see you soon.
And this one questionable video was also on that YouTube.
Got interrogated by the FBI as to some questionable contents on my computer. Everything's fine now. I'm just chained down to my chair, and I can't really do anything else. Wasn't expecting the government to be so concerned with my Selena Gomez folder. I don't even know how it was illegal. I mean, I downloaded it right off of Disney's official secret website.
What?
Now, I usually wouldn't bring this up as technically your family's criminal history isn't you, and you shouldn't be punished or treated differently because of them. But in this scenario, it feels a little too relevant because both of Patrick's brothers are convicted offenders.
They brought up my brother's convictions. Yes, my brothers were convicted of. That's their problem, not mine. Okay, yes, I still talk to my brothers. They're my brothers. Hello.
I'm gonna be honest, I would not still talk to my family members if they did something as awful as that, but this is Patrick we're speaking about. Anyway, Reddit users somehow ended up linking the email used by the Suspicious Quail YouTube channel to another Literotica account. And this one was called Babe for Dad. And it featured stories about, again, fathers and daughters, and some with mothers and sons. And it had the same writing style, same tone, only this time the stories actually referenced two names, Sarah and Hunter, Patrick's real kids. And if you notice, the profile picture looks suspiciously like the Firebound Harmony cover photo. Anyway, Patrick obviously ended up denying everything about Suspicious Quail.
You have tied accounts to me from 12 years ago on the Literotica site. No, you can't connect that one to me because 12 years ago, I didn't even have a YouTube account doing anything with my voice at all.
And then came, you know, addressing the Miss Ariella accounts.
Now, as for the Ariella account, let's go through the evidence, shall we? So the first way that's tied to me is it liked Monster Hunter, a game that in its first 2 weeks on the market sold over 10 million copies. Now, we're not the only fans here, people. Monster Hunter is really big.
I honestly have never heard of Monster Hunter before today, but sure.
But what really ties it to us is Sarah. She used the song, right? Well, let's ask the question. If I were to create an AI account, especially one posting NSFW content, at that time, after we'd already deleted 2 channels because of the trolls and the people on Reddit who constantly dive deep into our lives, why the hell would I have Sarah do a video knowing that they watch her account? Why the hell would we do that? That makes no logical sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any logical sense. Is it because you're stupid? I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
There was an account on Literotica tied to the Ariella account. Same photo and everything. And they wrote a story about a father and a daughter. It's sick and perverted. I did not even come close to reading it. So answer me this question. If in fact I did create that account, if in fact it was me, if in fact I did write that story.
Does this remind you of If I Did It, O.J. Simpson?
Back when the Ariella account was first discovered, all of her accounts disappeared after it was posted on Reddit. Every single trace of this Ariella Brigman character was erased from the internet except 2 things. Her Venmo account, which they try to tie to us because there's a picture of our book. You know how easy it is to go online to our Instagram account and download one of our pictures and post it on your Venmo account? I mean, come on, you can't really tie that to us. And the other one was apparently this Literotica account. So here's the question. If in fact it was me, knowing how deep Reddit dives into our life, why would I delete every single piece of information about Ariella off the internet except for that? These people think I'm dumb. I'm not that dumb, people. I don't write those stories. I don't even think about those stories. That's not even a thought in my head. It's a thought in your head, which makes that that's a problem for you.
And it doesn't help Patrick's case that he literally admitted to having used Literotica in the past.
I did not create any other Literotica accounts ever. Okay, wait, I'll check that. I had one tied to an old email address back when I was 20 years old, but I wasn't reading stories like that, okay?
I don't know, man. Like, I am chronically online and I have never heard of Literotica before, ever. And now I've been on some dark parts of the web. So it's a little suspicious that you're admitting to it. And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse for Patrick and Sarah, a new theory started circulating. And it's that Ariella's face looked very familiar. And once people started comparing screenshots and side by side, Ariella looked eerily similar to Jenna Frank, Sarah's so-called best friend and the daughter of the Green Power Ranger. Jenna, I am so sorry if you're watching this. Personally, I don't see it. Some people even said that Sarah might look like this Ariella character. I don't think so. Again, a lot of people were saying that. So a lot of people try to warn Jenna. Are you aware Sarah and her dad Patrick Getchell made an AI model of you to produce corn with? And obviously after comments like this, Jenna ended up blocking them instantly, which made Sarah extremely upset. Now this gets kind of muddy because if Ariella really was modeled after Jenna, Sarah's supposed best friend, then we can assume that Patrick's obsession had crossed into something far more sinister, from controlling Sarah's real life to digitally fabricating her best friend's body. Which
that's
illegal.
Is actually illegal. After everything exploded, Sarah and Patrick ended up doing a tell-all interview on TikTok Live where they address everything.
Honestly, yeah, I created the Ariella account. I made that account.
Patrick, thank you. You have been set free, man.
What? No. Oh my God, that's so crazy. No way. And then Sarah ended up chiming in to, you know, defend him and make him feel better.
That's one of the reasons why I deleted it, not just because Reddit found it.
Because it was weighing heavily on his heart, because it was like, you know, that kind of stuff is not what Christians do, and that was weighing heavily on his heart. That's why he deleted it.
This is such a big callback to the start of this video when I first talked about the purity ring, because Patrick is a Christian. And I say that because he really doesn't live or do things in the Christian way. But when he needs forgiveness, when he messes up, it's convenient because God forgives, according to him.
I've got God to forgive me, and that's all that matters.
We don't need people's forgiveness. The only one that matters is God anyway, so.
But in reality, like, Patrick isn't sorry for what he did. He's sorry he got caught doing it. He even admitted it later on his personal TikTok.
I finally came out and admitted to creating the Ariella AI account. I really was about to come out and admit it before we dropped the Dream Team account. But then when Reddit found that Literotica account, I got scared because I knew if I came out and admitted to the AI account that they would then say automatically the Literotica account had to be mine as well.
Now, although he did admit to the AI account, he never admitted to writing the Literotica story.
And I did not want to be associated with that account. I never made that account. I never wrote that story. I could never go as far as the Literotica.
I just think if you're gonna go as far as creating an adult AI account, come see me on FanView. As a Christian, erotic fan fiction isn't too far of a stretch. You know what I mean? Considering you're also a writer who's written a book. Now, the story actually does not end here, because after all of this, Sarah decided to go solo on TikTok, and she claimed to be making some moves towards independence, which people are very excited about. She claimed, first of all, that she was moving out. As part of this very exciting new move into her own place, Sarah ended up making an Amazon wish list and put up a bunch of house stuff on it.
What? I don't remember this being on my wish list. Is it vacuum sealed? This is vacuum.
She even did a little tour of her new place.
Now, I said I wouldn't do a full apartment tour, but I figured I'd give you guys a little taste of what my apartment looks like. So this is my bed. As you can see, Jackie has kind of taken it over. And then this is my dresser area. And then this is my filming area, my basically quote-unquote living room. And then my closet area. Yeah. I love my new apartment. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys love it too. See you next time. Bye.
But something about this house tour just wasn't adding up, because almost everything within that house looked exactly like her old house where she lived with the Getchels. And it's, you know, not too far-fetched to say that, you know, she could be lying because she's lied in the past. And as people had guessed, it was all fake. Again, it was all a lie. The original interviewer, Hannah, actually ended up getting Patrick to admit everything. Sarah never moved out completely. We got a 2-bedroom apartment at the extended stay, and the second bedroom has a second kitchen and a door, so it's kind of the same but not really. So many people were pressuring her to move out that she just wanted to try to get a break from it all, and she didn't want to leave TikTok, so she felt it was better to just make people believe she left. That is it, truly is the full truth. And the crazier thing of all this is that Patrick actually ended up admitting to writing the Literotica story under the Miss Ariella name for attraction. Yes, I wrote the story. This is the only story like that I have ever written. I don't believe that. If you read the story, it is actually surprisingly well written, and I don't mean that in this is gonna come out wrong. I meant it's not like a story that you write for the first time. You know what I mean? It was complete fiction, and it was hard for me to even write it. But I was being stupid trying to get traction for the whole AI account, and terrifying as it is, most of the top read stories on Literotica are from that category. There, I said it. Now you know everything that we have lied about, except for one thing. He never talked about the other Literotica accounts or suspicious quails, even though it all seems a little suspicious. Now, I want to talk about why this kind of content exists. Well, because people watch it. The Getchels basically became a real-time reality TV show, and the internet rewarded every disturbing moment with views. People stitched it, duetted, reposted it, not realizing the outrage is still engagement. And every click kept them stuck in the dynamic they've been watching unfold. I mean, the more they were playing into the characters of the couple, the more views and comments they would get. That doesn't excuse Patrick doing the things that he did. It is absolutely messed up, and I really hope that Sarah finds a way out of this. And although I truly still do believe she's a victim, I do think she lies a lot, and I don't appreciate that. I think truly Sarah has a lot of growing up to do, and the only way she can really do that is by leaving the Getchell household and getting a real job. Now, it is really blatantly obvious to me that Getchells grew up in poverty. They've said many times that they've been evicted from places, they've, faced homelessness. I do want to use this moment to encourage everybody to look at the links in my description. If you ever need help with food, or if you're in an unsafe situation, everything is linked down below. Also, please clear your browser history if you're in a dangerous environment. And if you want more deep dives like this, consider becoming a YouTube member, and please join my Discord. Don't forget to click the link in the description to grab the special CyberGhost VPN discount available for our viewers. It keeps your data safe while you browse and unlocks all blocked content online, all for just $2.03 a month. It's completely risk-free, so check it out today.